on the continuation of the video where I started speaking about when I'm telling people about my experience in Russia, I actually want to make this about that experience. Just the right time to talk about it, just before going to bed. And so I went there by myself. I planned the trip, all was normal. I made a small research about how to obtain the visa and the cost of it, and it was actually not expensive, but you have to go through some kind of a hassle because you need this invitation letter from a tourist agent from Russia. And so for me that was a pain, to having to contact entities that I wouldn't know how to deal with, and especially with the language barrier and all, and try to explain and find out the ones who could do it, the ones certified for it. So what I did instead was I searched for travel agencies that could do this, and then I found this. By much of my surprise, I found a travel agency which specializes in trips here in Portugal, which specializes in trips to Ukraine and Russia. I went to their website, and then they was saying they were closed since the invasion. They were closed, but they were working online, and they had this WhatsApp number. So the thing was easy as messaging the guy on WhatsApp. The guy immediately answers, told me he could help with the visa. The site seemed very legit, so I didn't have any great concerns, because in order to obtain the visa, and if you have someone taking care of it for you, you have to sign a document in which you entrust your documents to this guy, right? So you have to give him your passport and these documents signed by you, so he can go to the embassy and take care of things for you. Yeah, so I did this, and in a couple of weeks I had my passport home. I followed all the instructions he gave me. Ukrainian guy, by the way. All the instructions he gave me, and sent the documents with the pictures and everything, just plain and simple. And then in 2 weeks I had the passport with the visa at home by mail. So that was the visa part, and then the rest was just to find a company that would fly from Lisbon, preferentially. Of course, you can make you can fly to a place, and then from that place you can fly to Moscow. But I thought to myself, let me see if I can see a company where I just book the departure Lisbon, destination Moscow. And I found Turkish Airlines was doing it. I had two other options, which was to go through Serbia to Belgrade, or to Casablanca through Morocco. Both more expensive. I was doing all the figures, running all the figures, and the cheapest one was the Turkish Airlines, which is not very cheap, because it's not like it's a flag company. It's not low cost prices or anything. So it's actually, for me, was the most expensive part of the trip, was the price of the flight together with the visa, because of course normal visa maybe costs you 30-40 euros. If you pay someone to do it for you, it costs 170 euros. So with an average of 1,200 or 1,100 euros, more or less. You have several flights. I could not choose the cheapest ones because the stop between when you have to stop in Istanbul, and the stop was too long. I mean, they do. I think it seems like they do this for purpose. So I was a little bit in a hurry. I had only like 2 weeks, and I want to make the most of them in Russia. So I didn't want to be stranded in Istanbul for 3 days or something on the way there and again on the way back. So if you want minimum stopover there, you have to pay more, right? So yeah, about 1,200 euros, 1,100 is possible. And then if you, for 2 weeks, I don't know, it depends really on the type of person you are in spending money. I didn't have the biggest restraint, but I didn't go for like just go and spend whatever I felt like. No, I had to take a budget because I could not take my bank account with me. I couldn't use my card there. So I had to calculate the amount of money I could spend, plus a little bit of emergency money. Okay, so I know that I could spend so much, but always needed to leave this reserve to take with me. And that's a bit stressful to travel with money, because you don't know, you always more aware. At least I was, and I found a way to conceal it. And so once you get there, it's easy. Then you take your flight and you get to Moscow. That's the easy part, right? I got there, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and when I went through security, it was like, I thought it would be, I mean, I don't know, maybe some questioning, something, because a Portuguese flying alone with that destination is not very common these days, right? At least I think so. I haven't met any other Portuguese there, and the foreigners I met were all from the Far East. So, but no, I just went. I mean, they do their thing. They check your documents, they scan them, they look at you, they look at the picture, but they didn't ask any single question. And then when going through security, after the passport check, going through security to check with the bags, with my luggage, they just put it through the X-ray and that's it. They don't ask you to open or anything. I had 2 bottles with me, a bottle of wine, Portuguese wine, and a bottle of strong booze, local from where I live. And yeah, but that was all fine. So yeah, and then I just, from the airport, Vnukovo airport, I headed to the subway. I bought a ticket. I exchanged money first. I bought a SIM card, then bought a ticket, and I mean, all the steps were very easy. I never been there. I speak only a little bit of Russian that I've trained for the purpose of the trip. I'm very slow reading. I can read, but I'm very slow reading. But it was no problem by finding my way to the subway, buying the SIM card, exchanging money. And so I arrived at the airport 5:30 in the morning, and it's 7:30, a little bit around that. I was in the center of Moscow looking for my hotel, which I was supposed to check in about in 2 in the afternoon. And so the hotel was a little bit hard to find, because I mean, I booked the hotel in the center of Moscow. I wanted to be within walking distance from the Kremlin and the Red Square. So I booked this hotel, which cost me, it was an average hotel, nothing fancy. Cost me about 20-30 euros a night, around 30, a little bit less. It was a bit hard to find because this hotel was a floor of a higher building, so it was a building with several services, and one of them was this hotel, but comfortable, clean, very well located, no problems, and the lady only spoke Russian. But and I realized she was saying to me that it was too early, and then I just told her in Russian, "Я устал," which means I'm tired, and immediately she gave me the key and pointed me to the room, and that was it. Yeah, people are nice. So yeah, I'm not gonna tell the whole story, the rest of the story with that much detail, but from that moment on it was all nice. That's all I can say. I mean, no problem. I spoke with authorities in several times to ask information. I also had authorities coming to me, pointing to me that I was doing something that I was not supposed to do. That happened in Volgograd, by the way, and they were right, but there was no, then show the documents, apologize, no problem. I was sitting on a monument. Stupid of me, right? A monument where an eternal flame was. So, and they told me, you have plenty of benches to sit here, you don't need to be sitting on it. And they were right, yeah. But that was okay, that was it. And I went through security. I had fun nights in Moscow. I met some nice people, some people quite well known from the internet, like Mike Jones or Masha. Had the pleasure to be with them. Mike Jones interviewed me. Yeah, and then I went to Volgograd and then to Donbass, to Donetsk. And every step of this trip, like going to the train in Moscow and sleeping in the train, first first class, which is inexpensive for the length of the train ride. It's about 1,000 kilometers, maybe more, from Moscow to Volgograd, former Stalingrad, and I paid about 150 euros for the trip, which I managed to book in advance while I was still in Portugal. And so yeah, and I went through. It's a huge train station where I caught the train in Moscow, but it was easy to find my way. And then from Volgograd I took the bus to Donetsk, and that was the most exciting part of the trip. The other part of the trip was very easy and relaxed one. I mean, the prices you find, they are friendly. Russia is price friendly. You have a lot of very expensive stuff if you want to, but if you want, you can make very reasonable life there with good prices. And people talked to me on the street. I was doing my vlogging, so they noticed I was talking English or sometimes in Portuguese, and they came to me and asked me questions, curious, friendly. This was my experience in Donetsk. I boarded a bus, packed bus, from Volgograd to Donetsk, that was the hardest trip, right? A full bus, 15 hours. It was supposed to be more, but we didn't get any shit from the border. You know, they have this checkpoint. It's not really a border, but it's a checkpoint when you get into the Donetsk region. And we got there when it was about 5 in the morning, and so a guard with AK comes on board the bus and asks for everyone to show the document. So the bus is packed, right? So it's not like checking every document in his hand individually. He was a bit sleepy, so he just asks people to raise the documents and then it just goes through the rows and looking at the documents. And I could swear it didn't even notice me. That's the truth. So the whole procedure, checking all of the people, took like about 5 minutes, not more. And then the bus was back on track, back on the way to Donetsk city. Yeah, that was the entrance in Donetsk. The bus station, I had to wait there for a friend, my friend Russell Bonner Bentley. Some of you might know him from the internet, code name Texas. And while I was sitting on the train station, I heard my first shelling noises, war noises, which left the people that were around there completely, how could I say, apathetic. I mean, they are numbed, they are very used to it, so they do whatever. They don't even look or have any kind of reaction to it. I mean, the war noises is just the music of Donetsk. You hear it's just a constant rumbling. But even despite the war scenario there, I can say that I had a great time. I met great people, and I even had a great time. Like, I even went out to dinner and have good food and nice drink, very affordable, and people kind. Yeah, and I had the chance. Even most of the time I was with Russell, but I had the chance to walk the streets alone in Donetsk. Very pleasant, no problems. And it was actually the city that I felt the most freedom. I was a bit curious because of the war and checkpoints, and you see some military, but not too much. I thought it would be more. I thought the place would be like more tight, but no. People go about their daily lives. They take public transportation in the morning to go to work like a normal city. Of course, they take a lottery ticket every day to see if they make it through the day alive, because you never know when a shell or HIMARS or other rockets will land on top of your head. Apart from that, people are cool there. They go about their daily lives. And and one thing that you realize after a second is that, okay, these people they are Russians, but they are also ex-Ukrainians, right? There was Donetsk. The people there are the people that was living there before. And so these are the people that lived in the Ukrainian administration, and now under the Ukrainian administration, and now under Russian administration. And I can assure you that the general feeling that I had there of talking to people, and the general sentiment is that they do love Russia, that they don't want to go back to Ukraine. So this is a very this is a synthesis of my experience. Much more happened, but that's the general idea that I'd like to transmit about that. I don't think I have some vlogging videos on my channel about that, about 3 or 4 videos. If you are curious, you can take a look at them. Right now I'm about to arrive home and go to bed. I see you on the next one.